Have you had a brisket which you really enjoyed and thought you could make it at home? Hi, my name is Rick, and in this video, I'll show you how easy it is to make a brisket at home. To start with, we need to create a dry rub, and for this recipe, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of black peppercorn crushed, 1 tablespoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of mustard powder, and 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. So let's mix it all up, and I generally put it in a container so that we can get that evenly mixed up together. Since we put that in a container, we want to close it tight and give it a really good mix for about 4 to 5 seconds until we know it's well incorporated. For this brisket, I'm cooking using the sous vide method. So sous vide is basically a way of cooking that you put your meats and your fragrances in a bag and cook it on a slow and a precise temperature. It depends on your kind of meat. It could be for 15 to 30 minutes. That's generally for your seafoods. And for chickens it's a bit longer, and for cut of meat like a brisket, it's generally between 36 to 48 hours, and I've also seen people cooking it for about 60 hours. But for this time around, I'm cooking it for 48 hours at a temperature of 68 degrees Celsius. So I'm just gonna put the rub on the brisket first, and then I'll put it in a bag. I'm just using a ziplock bag because I don't have a vacuum sealer. But if you've got a vacuum sealer, that works perfect. So after I've coated the brisket, I'm gonna put it in a bag. Once the my sous vide comes up to temperature, I'm gonna put it in and forget it for the next 48 hours. Alright, over here I've got a large Ziploc bag, which is a food safe Ziploc bag. That's something which you need to pay attention to when you're picking up a Ziploc bag for sous vide, as there are a number of them which are not food safe and not heat resistant. There are some of those which are food safe, but it's only for keeping your cold meats and your vegetables and stuff, and not for it to be used in a hot environment like a sous vide. So what I want to do is just put in my brisket and whatever extra rub I've got on the plate, just dump that in because you ain't wasting any rubs. What's the point of that? It seems that I missed out some part of the brisket. I'm just gonna rub some part of it to ensure all of it is covered. And yes, I forgot to mention earlier, when it's on the plate, you need to try to cover as much of it as possible. Try not to have any part of the meat exposed. So once you're satisfied with that, hopefully you don't touch it while it's in the bag. You then want to first wash your hands off because whenever you handle any meat, it's important to wash your hands. And once you've done that, you want to take out the air from the Ziploc bag. Try to seal it tight. Basically, what I do is to seal the bag all the way to the end and leave a small little gap. And just kind of try to squeeze out all of the air pockets out of the bag. And now that you've done that, I just checked and my sous vide is up to temperature. So I'm gonna dump that in into my sous vide. It seems to be a little tight fit given that I've got kind of a small pot there. And generally I find sometimes the meat starts to float, so you just gotta put in a heavy object in there. It could be a fork, any heavy utensils. Probably not a fork, maybe like a spoon or something. But for my case, I'm actually putting a mini pot in there, which kind of will weigh it down. You just need something that has some weight in there, and which will prevent the meat from floating. And actually, if you've got a vacuum sealer, that will kind of achieve this as it reduces the amount of chances that the meat will float. All right, it's been 48 hours in the sous vide, and in addition to that, I've actually dumped it in an oven for about 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. And now I've just taken it out, and it's the moment of truth. It looks rather tender. That's looking good. It doesn't seem as juicy as I wanted it to be, but however, it does look rather tender. Yep, it's very tender indeed. I think I might have overcompensated in the oven because I kind of wanted the bark, which you kind of see at some of the briskets, but I think you only can really get that on in a smoker. That's all right. I mean, it's a nice flavorful brisket it's gonna be. Oh, that's nice. It's really tender. That that is how I love it to be. Only thing is, if it could be a bit more juicy, maybe I could have skipped the oven step or just put it for a much shorter time. That's fine. Yes, that's good. Yeah, look, it's all falling off. Yeah, so that's how I like a brisket to be. If you found this video has helped you to make a brisket, please click on the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel for more upcoming videos. And now it's time to have my lunch.